Have you ever heard someone say God's got a hedge around you? Maybe you've even prayed for a hedge of protection to be placed around your family or your home. But what does that really mean, and where does that idea come from? Well, it actually comes straight from the book of Job, and today we're going to take a closer look and see that it's not just about protection, but also perception, provision, and even providence. Welcome back to the Passages Unlocked, where we attempt to unlock the Bible one verse at a time. My name is Jim Murrell, and today we're going to be answering the question, what is a hedge God placed around Job? Let's start by reading the text, Job 1 and verse 10. Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. Now keep in mind, these are the words of Satan spoken in a conversation with God in heaven. Satan isn't just admiring Job's righteousness. He's actually accusing God of kind of stacking the deck in Job's favor. He claims that Job only serves God because God protects and blesses him. But let's pause right there. Let's notice a few points. For one, the source of the hedge, God's providential care. There is no doubt that God is the one who placed the hedge around Job. Even Satan acknowledges that, as recorded in the verse. Job's life was surrounded by blessings. He was wealthy, he had a large family, and most importantly, he was a man of deep, deep faith in God. God's providential care is real, and he watches over his people. In fact, Psalm 34 and 7 says that. The angel of the Lord encamps around all those who fear him and delivers them. So yes, the hedge is a part of God's loving protection. It's kind of his way of caring for those who walk in his ways. Now in the second place, let's notice the speaker of the hedge, Satan's misleading accusation. Let us not forget, Job 1:10 is spoken by Satan, and Satan is actually known for kind of twisting the truth, isn't he? While the hedge itself may be real, Satan's interpretation is not entirely trustworthy. He assumes that Job's faith is shallow and based only on the blessings God has given him. He argues that if God removes the hedge, Job will curse him to his face. Job 1 and verse 11. That's an accusation. That's not divine commentary. It's important that we don't take Satan's words as gospel. Now, thirdly, let's consider the nature of the hedge. It is more than physical. So what is the hedge? It wasn't just Job's wealth. It was actually his family support, his reputation, his health, and most importantly, his faith, which even God acknowledges in verse 1 and verse 8 of Job 1 when he described it like this: blameless and upright, one who feared God, and, watch this, shunned evil. All of these elements combined created a layer of strength and stability in his life. That hedge wasn't a magical thing. It was a result of God's blessings and Job's godly choices. Together they made what seemed to be an untouchable situation. At least Satan felt that way. He was, however, later allowed to test him. Finally, we notice the lesson of the hedge. Perceived advantage doesn't equal faithfulness. Sometimes we look at someone with a good job or a faithful family, a strong church life, and we assume that it must be easy for them to follow God. But Job's story reminds us that even when the hedge is removed, even when life falls apart, real faith, it endures. Job lost almost everything, but he never cursed God. Yes, he mourned, he questioned, and he even wrestled with deep emotions, but his faith stayed strong. So as we make application, we ask again, so what is the hedge God placed around Job? I think it's a visual expression of God's providence. A combination of blessings and circumstances that made Job's life strong and protected. But it was never a guarantee against suffering. It wasn't the source of his faith. It was the fact that his faith came from a deep relationship with God. But let's not be that kind of people who serve God only when life is good. Let's be the kind of people, like Job, who trust him even if the hedge is gone. So let's reflect by asking ourselves a few questions. For one, what hedges has God placed in your life that you may have taken for granted? 2, if those blessings were taken away, would your faith remain? And then finally, 3, Are you building a faith that is rooted in God or maybe in the comforts God offers? Thank you so much for joining me today on The Passions Unlocked. And until next time, stay faithful, my friends.